Hello, 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 and welcome to another live stream. It is October 27th, 2024, and we are in the middle of the Aloha Classic, which is the last Wave World Cup of the year. So, this event will determine the world champion, and I'm not in the title race. I haven't done many events this year, any events this year, actually, except for the Aloha. This is the only one that I'm doing. And that's been my main focus the last week. And it's taken a lot of focus. And it's been a good journey. I feel like I've learned a lot about competition over the last 20 years of competing. Uh, but despite that long run, I'm still learning things every day. And I feel like I'm in a pretty good place in terms of the event. I think in the past, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and it was a lot about trying to show what I can do. And then that would create a set of expectations and tensions, and it was not very fun. And what I'm trying to do with this event is to do it just for myself and to have fun with it. So to really focus on enjoying being out there, being part of this elite group of windsurfers, having Hookipa with only a few people out, and just having a good time. Of course, it also is a competition, so I'm making sure that I'm tactically doing well. For example, taking really big gear in the last heat because I knew that if I wasn't catching waves, I would not win the heat. So I took my aircraft carrier board and a big 5 batten 5.5, and that allowed me to get around and feel really comfortable getting waves. And so that probably not the gear that I would take if I was just free sailing. I would probably take something a little bit smaller. But given those constraints, trying to just enjoy it and have a good time. I wonder, for everyone who's tuning in, have you done a competition before? Have you done any amateur events or local events or IWT events? I know there are a lot of local events around the world. And if you have done it, first I want to know if you have. And then if you have, was it fun? Did you find fun? And if not, would you do it again with a different mentality or a different approach? All right, we're going to go through the chat and then load up the Facebook group. Greg in the chat, thank you. We've got Jorg as well, following the competition. Max, also following the Aloha. We got Owen, moin moin. Yeah, so let me know, have you done an event? And if you have, how was it? Did you have fun? If you didn't have fun, would you do it again with a different mentality? We got Matt in the chat as well. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, it's interesting. I've been having fun, but also it's been a struggle to have fun. It's not automatic. It's not easy. And I feel like in the past, when I've heard people who are doing well in contests and they're interviewed and they say, "Oh, I just wanted to have fun up there. I was just focusing on having fun." I kind of rolled my eyes. I was like, "Yeah, sure," but I think it's actually something that's very key because the alternative to having fun is not having fun and being frustrated. And it's very easy to get frustrated in a competition. And so focusing on having fun is not trivial. It's not trivial, it's not easy in that competition setting. But it's very freeing. And I think that is very important. Uh, it's very important to do, but it's definitely not easy to do. So to get out of that high pressure mindset into a more fun loving dance like mindset, but still with all the focus and tactics and performance. It's not easy. So that's what I'm trying to do, and I feel like I've learned a lot about uh, in this event, which is crazy because I've been competing for 20 years. I'm 35. I did my first World Cup when I was 14. So that was 21 years ago. Done a lot of World Cups, done a lot of competitions, and still learning, still learning. All right, I'm going to go through the chat, and then we're going to open up the Facebook group. We got Ragnar in the chat with a bump and jump session on a 4.7. We got Rasmus in Hamburg, and he did some longboard racing in the 80s. Jakob and Suna are joining us from Denmark. They just had a session in Handstham. Awesome. Love it. Greg said he hasn't done any events, but he wants to try it. Yeah, there's some good British events, I believe. Matt said he did one in the 90s, regatta sailing on a displacement board. Mark had a light wind session this week. Ragnar did some slalom, but never competed in the waves. All right, we're going to get the Facebook group loaded up. And of course, interrupt me as much as you want to ask questions about anything, but especially the Aloha Classic. All right. First up, we have a post from Ragnar. In Heat 2, Maui local Graham Ezzy, that's me, was on a roll, pushing former Aloha Classic winner Antoine Martin into second place. With light conditions, Ezzy opted for larger gear, focused on finding the waves with the best shape. Yeah, this is true. Here's one of the waves from the event, the drone shot. The drone makes it look so much smaller than it felt. And I was focusing on, having fun, finding a flow. And I'm on big gear. I'm on my big 5.5 and my big aircraft carrier 95. And what am I thinking about? Thinking about getting hard bottom turns, smooth lines, going from one maneuver right into the next one. So landing, going into the next turn. I was pretty happy with this wave. This wave was towards the end of the heat, and it was once I was starting to find a rhythm with the waves. And it's just a little wave. If you saw this wave out of context, it's not that impressive, but I was pretty happy with this considering the big gear, the tricky conditions, and the competition format. It's a big sail to be doing this stuff. The other guys are on much smaller rigs. But I know that if I'm not catching waves, I'm not going to advance. I got to get on the waves to do anything on them. All right, some questions. Greg says, I look relaxed in the competition. How am I feeling? Yeah, so I've been focusing on being relaxed. And that sounds like an oxymoron, but somehow it's true. I've been very intensely focused and concentrated on being relaxed and on having fun. And maybe this is the secret to competition that I was missing my whole career. And that's that it does take a lot of focus and work to have fun. And that's where you need to go. It's interesting. I'm still learning. 21 years on, and I'm still learning. Mike says, can I ask you at the moment of launch on aerials? I've been getting some tiny air that feels forced, mainly happening by going very fast down the line and not hooking the bottom turn too much. Highlining basically into the section and ending up doing something more like a floater with a few inches of air. Is this late timing as the wave has already broken, or should I hit the pitching section? I know I'm looking at the section, not where I want to go. The best one I did, I landed up the back of the wave, and it felt like the bottom of the board got a good boost from the wave. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about with this question. It's a great question. Sounds like you have a lot of the ingredients already there. You want to take a high line. You want to go very fast. You don't want to do much of a bottom turn. You want to lightly come down the face of the wave and then come back up into the lip, and you want the bottom of the board to get that boost off the wave, that high five moment that we That's the high five moment, the Windsurfing Masterclass high five. A few things about the aerial that are important. This has come up in some of my private coachings over the last couple of weeks. If you're interested in private coaching, we can do that over Zoom or in person if you're in Hawaii. I've done a couple coaching with some of the pro competitors and some Zoom coachings as well. So if you are interested in that, let me know. And this is something that's come up. One of the things with the aerial that's very important is to not do too much. The wave is throwing forward and you're trying to line up the board to get that high five and get that projection. If you think of it like a jump where you're pushing off of the wave or using it like a kicker, then that will disconnect you from the wave. And that is counterproductive to getting projection and height. Instead, you want to think about firm pressure against the lip of the wave and let it throw you out in front of the wave or up into the air. What you don't want to do is push off of it or tuck up too soon. You won't want to do too much to disturb the ability of that lip to project into the bottom of the board and to throw you up into the air. So it's very important to keep that firm pressure and try to fit the board inside the curl of the lip. The second thing I'll talk about that's important, and otherwise we need to see some footage, Mike, is that you don't want to aim straight into the beach. You want to aim very, very far down the line. And so you're traveling more in a straight line rather than doing an L or even a curve. It's much more of a straight line off of the lip. All right, here is another clip from the competition. This is one of my waves from my second heat. Again, I'm on my big board, but on my 5.0. And yeah, I was pretty stoked to get this perfect 360 in the contest. These feel so good when you land them clean like this. I was pretty stoked on it. All right, we've got some new members in the group. Welcome all of them. We got Klaus from Pozo. Or Bahia Feliz, I guess. Moritz Mauk's father. Welcome. Bunch of other people as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope that you find value in this community and group. And I encourage you to make a post, ask a question, post a photo, whatever you feel comfortable with. Greg, thank you for the support. We got Jorgen as well. All right, Greg with the Aloha Classic coverage. Thomas is making his own boards. Interesting to see. Okay, this is a big one. The applications for the Windsurfing Masterclass Morocco 2025 weeks are open. We're doing 2 weeks, the 8th to the 14th and the 15th to the 21st. And so you can apply here, put in your information, and I will get back to you. The first round of applications are going to be answered in the next few days. I've been busy with the competition. If you're interested in joining, I encourage you to sign up. The first week is filling up very quickly. Not sure if it's already full. I have to go through the applications. Second week still has some spots, but I've only posted this 4 days ago. So if you are interested in joining the Morocco Masterclass, I really encourage you to sign up now or to apply now to make sure that you have a spot. All right, we got Massimo. Welcome to the Facebook group. If you have a question or a photo or a video, I encourage you to post it in the group. We've got such a great community of windsurfers, and it's one of the best communities out there. I don't know what I did to get so lucky to have you guys, but it's really a great community. Lots of positivity, lots of advice. You can ask questions about anything, about gear, tuning, technique, travel, and you'll find someone with a good answer in this group. So I'm pretty stoked on it. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to going back to Morocco. We had such a good time this year. I wonder if I can find the footage. Let me see if I can find the footage. Morocco. Let's see if we can see some of the footage from. So here's a little bit of the action from this year. We had a variety of conditions, some smaller waves, some bigger waves. It was a very good time, a lot of learning, a lot of pushing new experiences. Um, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to going back there. We're going to do 2 weeks this year. The application is in the Facebook group. I will also send that out to my email list and I'll post it on Instagram at some point. But I want to give everyone in the Facebook group a priority and a chance to apply for the masterclass. Um, and we're doing 2 weeks this year. Or next year. This year we did 1 week and it was great. And so we're going to do 2 weeks next year. And if you're planning to go to Denmark, I'm not sure I'll be able to do the Windsurfing Masterclass in Denmark this September. So we've got some things going on. I've got some things going on in my personal life, and I think that I'll be in Hawaii at that time and not in Europe. So it's not so feasible for me to travel from Hawaii to Europe for just the masterclass. But I'm not sure. We'll see what happens this spring and where I'm at when sort of in the summer I'll make a final announcement. But my point is, if you're waiting to go to Denmark this year, it might not happen. And so look out for one of the other master classes. We're going to do one or two in Morocco. And then I'm also looking at doing one in Tenerife as well. But that one's not confirmed and it's not announced. But you can apply for the Morocco one right here. I can post it in the chat as well. Let's see. Let's get a good, nice shareable link. All right. So here, post it in the chat if you want to apply. All right, we got a few minutes. We went through everything from the Facebook group that was posted. If you've got any more Aloha questions or other questions in general, feel free to post them in the chat. Got a few more minutes. I think that I know that we're not going to compete today. Today is an off day. Tomorrow is looking good, though. There's a new swell coming in. It's been stormy, but still windy. And we'll see what that means for the wind on Monday. Hopefully we've got more wind than what we've had the last days. I would really like to be on a 5.0 and my smaller board. I think that would be a lot of fun, and it would really help with the level of everything as well. I think everyone would have a lot more fun. So I am up next on Monday, and I believe I'm the third or the fourth. I think I'm the fourth heat of the men. Once we start going again, I'm the first heat of the next round, but they still have 3 more heats of the current round before they get to the next round. So if they start at 11, I'll go at 12. So that means like midnight European time, I guess, on Monday. Erasmus asks, what do I think about Kai Lenny's boards? Yeah, interesting. So some of them I think look really good, and some of them not so much. So the boards that he was on before the event, I remember talking about this on the live stream, I thought looked amazing. I thought his turns looked really good. And they look, yeah, so solid. But he has another board that I don't like as much. It looks more slidey and he's not getting as much speed. I really don't like, and this is maybe my own personal preference and bias, I really don't like top turns that slide too much with the tail unless it's coming from a really hard down carve. But in windsurfing, I just don't like these turns with just where the tail pops out, because we've got the sail holding us up. It's not like surfing where if you're doing that, you have to have a lot of balance and awareness and all of these things going on, because in windsurfing, we've got the sail holding us up. And so unless that slide is coming out of a really hard carve, I'm just not into it. And so one of his boards that he was on in the heats looked like it did that a lot, and I don't really like that. But in his last heat, he was killing it. Something he's been missing in previous years is the consistency with the tricks. And in his last heats, he had a taka, a 360, a goiter, just everything that you can do in the waves. And so that was really impressive to see. And so he's definitely sailing really good. In terms of the boards, it looks like there's one that I really like the look of and another one that I don't like the look of. I'm not sure which he's happier with. He's definitely one of the standouts, though. I would say that the standouts for me are Brazinho, Kaileni, and Morgan Nawarro. Those three guys are the ones who have, I think, the best performances so far. Levi also looks solid. There's a lot of other people that look solid, but I think the people who have really impressed me the most are Kai, Morgan, and Brazinho. Max asks, is the family with me watching me compete? Families in Europe, families in Germany. They're following along, but you guys know how that is with the time difference. Ragnar asks, can I talk through the heats a little bit more? Yeah, I can. I wonder what the best format is for that. I could play the heat back. I'm not really set up to do that right now. Maybe I can get the footage from the heat and go through it and do a voiceover of what was going through my head through the whole heat. I'll see if I can get that footage. Otherwise, maybe there's an easy way to pull it out of the live stream. If anyone knows how to do that, how to pull it off of YouTube, just pull out my heat and can send me the file, that would make it a lot easier for me. And then I can go through it and just do a play-by-play watching the whole heat. I can say a few things right now, though. Yeah, so I was nervous. I've been nervous a lot going into these heats and reminding myself that I'm doing this for me because I want to be out there. There's no other reason. I'm not trying to prove anything. And focusing on finding a rhythm with the waves. And so like I had a wave that in this heat earlier on where what I was doing was really not like a scoring ride. You know, I kind of grabbed the lip with my hand and was doing just some kind of silly, playful things. But that helped me find the fun, find the rhythm. And then I had some other ways more like this that, yeah, felt really good. All right, Harold says, good luck. Thank you. We got Mateo. Ciao. Max is saying to do a clip of the live stream on YouTube. I think there's a limit to how long you can clip it, though. Isn't a clip limited to 60 seconds? It'd be great to get the whole 27-minute heat and be able to talk through the whole thing. So if someone knows how to do that, let me know. Otherwise, maybe there's a way. I'll talk to the organizers and see if there's a way to pull out the heat from the raw file. Yeah, I'm not sure. I am not sure. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, with that, I think I'm going to sign off. Wish you guys a windy week. Wish me a windy Monday for the competition. I'm looking forward to getting on the water, to sailing, and also to finishing it. You know, it takes so much focus and energy. It's nice to finish everything. Mateo asked, how much was the wind yesterday? It was windy. I didn't sail, but the guys were, I think, fully powered on slightly bigger sails. I talked to Baptiste, and he was on a 4.5 or 4.4 and fully powered doing jumps. He told me he did a push forward. So that's pretty wild. And you need a lot of wind for that. So yesterday was pretty windy, but there was no men's competition. They were focusing on masters and juniors, and I didn't sail, took a break. I am going to get on the water today, though. And tomorrow, Monday, Hawaii Monday, will be the finals day. Unless something goes weird, The whole event is going to finish up tomorrow on Monday. Thank you, Max. And Jakob says, no jumps. No, unless there's a lot of wind, I really don't expect them to count jumps at Hookipa. Hookipa can be very good jumping, but the problem is, in order to jump, you need to set up more upwind. And the wave ride, you want to go in these cycles that go around the rocks into the channel. And so if you're jumping, it's often a different way of setting up than the wave riding, and that throws you out of sync for getting the good sets. And getting a good rhythm, finding a good rhythm with the waves is really important for high performance wave riding. So often the two are in contrast with each other. And if you're free sailing, you can take 20 minutes to do a jump, or sometimes it just lines up, you get a good ramp for a jump and you go for it. But like what I think is always interesting is when people say like, oh, why are there no jumps at Hookipa? It's like, if you go look at a 4-7 day, like pretty windy, 4-7 day on Maui is very windy, where everyone's planing in and out, and you're watching the best guys in the world, you're watching the best jumpers in the world, Brazinho, Victor Fernandez, all of these guys, and you sit there for 2 hours, you might not see a single jump in the free sailing. So it just shows that the setup for jumping is really different than the setup for performance riding. And so I think that even though jumping is cool, if we're focusing on a wave riding event, we shouldn't dilute that with the jumps. It'd be different if it was a spot, like there are other spots in the world where on a windy day, you see people riding waves coming in and jumping going out. But that's just not the case. At Hookipa on Maui, we often have days that are super windy, and these guys are the best jumpers in the world, and you can watch it for hours and not see a single jump. So it's just a different kind of spot. Thank you, Jakob and Rasmus. Ragnar says he knows a way to screen record. Okay, Ragnar, so if you can get Daihi fully pulled out, then I will talk through the whole thing. Thank you for the luck. Yeah, Max says that back when we had 2 events a year, the spring event had jumping and the autumn one focused more on riding. Yeah, the spring event, in my memory, is always with jumps, or not always, but more with jumps, and the autumn one almost never. Mario, ciao. I hope you're getting on the water. Massimo says, what is the best period of year to start windsurfing at Hookipa? He's been twice in October, but it was too extreme, and he only sailed in Kanaha. Okay, so the best time for learning Hookipa depends on your level, but if you have a fairly high level, it's May, August, and September. May, August, and September. If your level's a little bit lower, then June and July as well. June and July are often windy months with small waves. May, August, and September are normally also windy, but with smaller to medium-sized surf. So if you're on Maui at that time, chances are you're going to get some great days at Hookipa that are introductory days where there's very little risk. The swell's not so big that there's a worry of going on the rocks. And if you learn Hookipa in those conditions, then when the waves do get bigger, you're comfortable with the currents, you're comfortable with how everything works, the launch, the people, and it's not as extreme. The problem with going to Hookipa when the waves are big for the first time is you've got to figure out everything. And there's a whole system to how you launch, how you get out, how you deal with the rocks and the currents. There's an invisible system of conveyor belts underwater, and you ideally are using them to help you get around. And if you're not aware of how those currents are working, then they're going to be fighting against you. You're going to have lots of issues. So learning the spot when it's more manageable is really important. And so that is May, August, and September. June, July also work, but sometimes the waves are so small that you're not even really learning the spot that much. Can still be very fun sailing. All right, Jakob asks, or Suna, Jakob and Suna asks Jakob to ask, is the colorful sail new? It is kind of new. It's a Zeta, so it's a 5 batten wave sail, and it's a line, the Ezzy line that hasn't changed very much over the last few years. There's a small update for 2025, and that is the 2025 version that I'm on. Joe says that he can clip up the heat no problem and send you a new YouTube link. Do I know what time it starts on the live stream? I don't know it right now, but it is pretty easy for me to find it. I could find it quickly and post it somewhere. I can send it to you directly or post it in the group. I don't know what time it starts, but it's pretty easy to find. Cool. All right. Well, we've got a couple more minutes. I don't have to run. So if we've got more questions, we can go through them. Are there any more Aloha Classic questions or windsurfing questions or Maui questions in general? While we're waiting for some more questions, I am going to talk a little bit about the coaching options that are available if you want to level up your windsurfing. I am working on developing more online courses, but that progress is slower than I would hope it to be. Yet there are some courses online. So you can go to windsurfingmasterclass.com, go to the learning portal, or if you want to just go my.windsurfingmasterclass.com, you'll go straight to the learning portal. We've got 2 courses, Fast Tack Secrets and Shove It Success Express. Fast Tack Secrets is awesome if you want to improve your tacks. The success rates from that course blow my mind. Actually, it's better than I hoped. I get so many emails from people saying that they went from no tacks out of 10 to 8 tacks out of 10, or 3 tacks out of 10 to 8 tacks out of 10, 9 tacks out of 10. And that's really who the course is designed for. It's designed for people who can do 2 to 3 tacks out of 10, but they're struggling with their consistency and they want to get up to 8 out of 10. But the more time you put in, the more you're going to get out of it. So, for example, I've met and had emails from people who could not do any tacks before starting the course, and then after a year are at almost 100% consistency on their tacks. So I'm really happy with this course and its success. So if you want to improve your fast tacks or you want to learn fast tacks, this is the way to do it. Do it at your own pace online. We'll occasionally do live Zooms, but most of it is videos that you can go through yourself. And then we also have the Shove It course. This is a newer course, but we already have some success from this course, which is great. I love to see that. We already have some people who are landing their first shove its from the course, and same thing like the tack course. You do it on your own pace. We'll do some live Zooms. I'm going to try to do another set of live Zooms after the Aloha Classic ends. Yeah. All right. We got a few more questions in the chat. Is there anything particular the judges are looking for? Matt asks. Yes. So one of the main things that the judges are looking for is vertical riding. And so this is different from previous years where more down the line styles of riding were scoring really high. They want to see more top to bottom vertical bottom turns, which I really like. I think that's a good thing to prioritize. So I think that's a step forward. Bujma is the head judge of the event, and he has a ton of experience. He's a great windsurfer, which isn't always a good thing for judges. Sometimes some of the better riders have a certain amount of bias or a more narrow view of what they like. Like, for example, with me, I really don't like these sliding top turns. Maybe that's not a good thing if I'm a head judge. But Bujma, I think, is doing a really good job. All right, Jorg asks, why did I choose the 2017 95 leaderboard and not a newer one? This board, so this is a custom board, and it's so reliable. It's a tanker. It floats, catches waves. and it's very smooth on the rail. So it's not as maneuverable off the top. You can see that my turns, like this first cutback on my other boards, would have a lot more of an arc to it. It's a lot harder to complete that turn because the board is so big and long. But this is the board that I like to use at Jaws, for example. This is a great Jaws board. And most of the other boards that I've gotten more recently, because you're right, this board is maybe 7 years old, are smaller and more performance focused. And so this is my trusty go-to Big Wave 95. And yeah, it's just very reliable. The other boards, offer higher performance riding. But like, for example, if I was to go out at Jaws, I would take this. It carves a very smooth line. It's easy to get around. It's got a lot of volume, but also sits very smooth in the bottom turn and off the top. Joe says, how much kit do I have rigged on the beach and ready? It didn't look like there's a lot of time to come in and swap. So I rigged a 5.5, a 5.0, and a 4.7, and I had this 95 liter and an 88 liter on the beach, and that was it. For Monday, maybe I'll bring an extra set, like a backup 5.0, and maybe a backup 88 liter board as well, in addition to my main one, just to have the backup in case something goes wrong and I need to switch right away. Brazinho, for example, he has 2.53s, 2.50s, 4.7 rigged, and I'm not sure how many boards. So he's got 5 sails rigged. That's a lot. There's not that much time to come in and change, but theoretically there is time. And then also there isn't time before the heat to make changes. So you need everything ready just in case the wind drops or increases before the heat. Is there anything particular the judges are looking for? Matt asks. I think this is the question we already answered, right? Where I said they're looking for vertical riding. Rasmus says, does it make sense to go to Kuau to get used to Hookipa conditions? Kanaha has so much less power. Yeah, I think Kuau can be good, but the best place to learn Hookipa is Hookipa. So I recommend going, like I said, in May, August, or September. It's also a lot less crowded in those months. Hookipa can be very accessible, especially if you have a certain level of riding. It's very accessible, whereas it's a lot less accessible in October, November, March, April, because the waves are bigger, the crowds are denser, it's just more tricky. Max says, do you get told what the judges are hoping to see and will score higher? Yes and no. There is a little bit of communication. It could be better, to be honest. It could be better. I think this is the most important thing with competitions. Something that I think people get wrong is they think that events are about, or judging events is about getting it right. I don't think that's the case. It's not about the judges getting the scores right. I think it's about the judges communicating the guidelines clearly and sticking to those guidelines. And then it's no longer subjective, because if we're talking about what's right, it's always subjective. You can say, oh, aerials shouldn't score as high as hard carving turns. But if it's made very clear in the skipper's meeting at the start of the day that, okay, down the line aerials are going to score less than carving pocket turns, then we all know that, the judges know it, we're all on the same page, and we can adjust our technique accordingly. What's difficult, and this happens a lot in windsurfing competitions, is that those guidelines are not clear, and they're not only not clear to the riders, they're not clear amongst the judges. And so from heat to heat, what is being looked for changes. And I think that's really bad, because some people think, oh yeah, aerials should score higher. Some people think that carving pocket turns score higher. And then it's different from heat to heat. And I think that's a bad thing. What we want is to have clear guidelines that the judges stick to and follow and are communicated clearly to the riders, and the riders can adjust their riding accordingly. And this event is fairly clear. It's not as clear as it could have been. I think the Aloha Classic, maybe it was 2021, had very clear guidelines, and I like that a lot. Jorg says, thumbs up, thumbs up. Mateo wants to know how much the subscription of the event is, so how much the inscription is. Yeah, how much was it? I think it's something like $200 or $300, something in that range. I think 200. Most World Cup events are in that range. Let's say 200, 250, 300, somewhere in that range. There are some different factors. Mateo said he posted a video on the Facebook group. Awesome. Cool. All right, everyone. I'm going to sign off, get back to my day here. I've got a little bit of work to finish up in the morning and then get on the water, get a session in before finals day tomorrow. I hope you're following along. If you've got any Aloha Classic questions, post them in the Facebook group. And if you want to join Morocco 2025, you can apply here. I will send this application out to the email list as well, but it's already starting to fill up. Like I said, the first week is almost full. So if you are interested, now is the time to apply. And if you have applied, I will write you back sometime in the next few days. Like I said, the competition is taking up a lot of my bandwidth, so I haven't been able to go through all of the applications and respond. But with that, I'm going to sign off. Wish me wind and luck on Monday, and I hope you have a windy week. I will see you next week, Sunday, same time. Take care.